All right, everybody, grab your wine, grab your drink of choice. I want to talk about Tesla stock and why I think it might be on the precipice of surging. I was sitting there thinking about things, thinking about a series of events that could play out, and I want to propose this theory, this idea that I had, and I want to be completely transparent and at least provide it for all of you so that either you can think if it's something worth actually acting on or not. It's not financial advice, but I figured I was thinking about something and I might as well share it with all of you. All right. So before we get into that, though, I do want to talk about one thing real quick. I'm going to share my screen here in a second. But if you guys know Sam Evans from the Electric Viking, he has a GoFundMe page for his wife right now. I've never met Sam. Full transparency. I don't know anything about him. I just I enjoy who he is as a person, his content, and everything. But his wife is going through cancer right now. That's why they're in Thailand. They got two little boys. And they have a GoFundMe page here. Feel free to check it out and donate if you can, or if not, go leave him some kind words on his videos. If you don't know who he is, check him out. Again, that's Sam Evans, the Electric Viking. He talks about Tesla and all kinds of other electric vehicle topics. And I just with stuff like this, I think it's awesome when we can kind of support each other as a community. All right. So, with that said, let me come back to center stage here. And I want to talk about why I think Tesla stock might be on the precipice of soaring. Okay. Now, this seems so counterintuitive, right? I literally just made a video the other day about, why this is kind of, for me at least, a time to just hold my cash. But things change on a day to day basis, and you have to be fluid and you can't just be stuck in the way you think. When you have new data, you need to evolve in your thinking. And so that doesn't mean that I'm doing anything just yet, but I'm seeing a convergence of events happening. And I at least want to talk into the ether, out into into the universe, and maybe read your comments and get some feedback to see if you guys think I'm on the right page here. And stick to the end because there is one piece of information with regards to robotaxi or FSD that I think is a huge signal about where we are. All right. With that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Helps get this to more people so that more people learn about Tesla, people learn about EVs, and people learn more about TSLA. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share, first of all, some breaking news that happened today. Okay. So Elon Musk says that he's stepping down as Twitter CEO and he'll oversee the product. So he essentially found someone to take over. She's a she, and I think that's exciting because it's Elon once again following the same footsteps as SpaceX. Not that I'm saying he's hiring her because she's a woman, but probably because she's the best qualified for the role. Gwen's done an outstanding job at SpaceX, and I'm sure whoever this person is, she'll do an amazing job as well at Twitter. But I only bring up her gender and the fact that she's a woman because everybody loves to paint Elon as this alt-right extremist person, neo-Nazi, whatever other moniker you can put on the guy. And clearly he's not some sexist, misogynist person. He's a person who believes in giving jobs and opportunities to people who deserve it, who are the right skill set, and who have shown the proper leadership. And I say people because I personally of the mindset it shouldn't matter what gender you are. It shouldn't matter what your background is, your ethnicity. I don't think it should matter if you've gone to college or not. The best person, the best candidate for the job should always win out on the job. And I think if you do that, then it's the best way to have kind of a meritocracy. All right. With that said, I do think this is a big deal for this to happen. As you could see, Tesla stock did jump up today. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. So we went up about 2.1%. We're up a little more in the after hours, about up another percent. And so this has had a little bit of a move. And you might be wondering, well, why wasn't this move bigger? And my theory on why it wasn't bigger is mainly because it hasn't happened yet, right? So people might not really believe that this is the case, that this is real, or if this is just BS or Elon pretending. You never know. I guess people think that Elon is this mischievous liar persona, which I don't think he is personally. But whatever. We'll see what happens. And I'm under the impression that once we learn who the new CEO is or when she's going to take over and all the stuff that the stock will start to react for this, and the quote unquote Gary Black hangover will be lifted. Now, I don't think this alone is why Tesla's going to soar. I do think this is a element of it, but allow me to bring up my next point of why I think things are getting really interesting. So here today we had PPI come out today, and for those of you who don't know, so we just had CPI, right? And so CPI is essentially a basket of goods that is a basket of goods that the government decides that we'll go and we'll check. So think like gas and bread and shelter and airline tickets, right? All these things, and they weight them, and then that's what they decide as what CPI is, Consumer Price Index. So PPI is essentially a little different. PPI is essentially it stands for Producer Price Index, and it's the goods or the raw materials, the cost to build and create these things that get into the CPI, or that go into the economy. And so I would say that the PPI is more of a leading indicator of what's going to happen when it comes to CPI, because PPI is a number that will eventually funnel through to the CPI. So the fact that today that wholesale prices rose just 0.2% in April, which was less than the estimate, as inflation pressures ease, that is very bullish. Okay, so this is 2 days back to back of bullish news right after the Fed kind of signaled that they might pause. And before we get to June, now don't forget, June, we do have yet another CPI report that will come out. And that kind of builds into my thesis. Okay, so here's essentially, I'll get straight to the chase. Here's what I think might be on the precipice of happening. So we've got another CPI report that will come out. That CPI report will most likely be a reading. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be cool, or it will hit expectations, but what I think will happen is it'll be a neutral enough result that the Fed will go ahead and say that they're gonna pause for now. That's one thing that's gonna happen, right? That's gonna happen around, let's just say first week of June. That'll happen. Okay, so that's first week of June. What else is happening in early June? Well, we'll also have clarity on the debt ceiling, right? So I believe we will technically be in a default on June 1st. And if you remember what 2011 was like, I specifically remember I went to a military academy for college, and we were shut down. We were shut down during the 2011 scenario, whole thing that happened. And I remember we were just sitting there in our barracks, just like playing poker, just waiting. Like everything got shut down. Like we weren't allowed to go to classes or do anything because of the shutdown, if you will. So I do think that we will avoid that, mainly because we have a presidential election coming up. Biden doesn't need any more crap on his resume. You can try and frame this as blaming the Republicans, but I think the Republicans do have the upper hand in this case, and the Dems are just going to look worse because they're not trying to negotiate. They essentially want to have a clean bill for a debt ceiling raise. The Republicans aren't going to do that. The Republicans who are voting on this, Trump's going to be the nominee, right? Trump or DeSantis. But the point is, this isn't going to reflect badly on the Republicans, no matter how you slice it. Last time with the whole debt ceiling with John Boehner, yeah, that did reflect bad on the Republicans. This time, it's the other way around. It'll reflect bad on the Democrats. So I do think that we'll get a deal done. Someone's going to blink, and we'll get resolution. And it will probably be in the last hour, last 30 minutes before something happens. All right, so that's also happening. So we've got CPI, Fed meeting. We've got the debt ceiling going on, and then we also have the new CEO for Twitter will be announced, or will go ahead and go into effect early June. Okay, so that's a lot of very positive catalysts, not just for Tesla, but for the broader market. Now, don't forget, once the Fed hints at a pause, or they go ahead and pause, this is going to open up the aperture for risk. Okay, there's gonna be a lot more people willing to get risky with their investments, and risk is great for growth stocks. Tesla is a growth stock, so we should see it have some effects there. Okay, so what else do I see happening? Okay, we have April, May, June. That's what makes up Q3 for Tesla. All right. We saw April numbers and they were pretty solid. And we are in May and we're seeing some really good early start numbers. And we also see some really good low inventory numbers for Model Y in the United States. To add to that, we also see Giga Texas hitting 5,000 vehicles per week. We know Berlin's at 5K per week. That puts that at 500,000 vehicles on a per annual or on an annual basis, assuming no downtime. You have China that's over a million. You have Fremont doing anywhere from 5 to 750,000 vehicles. They should be more than well on their way to hit their 1.8 million target for the year. That's good for Tesla. I also I also think, and this will be like a little further down the road when we get earnings, I think Tesla will be on deliveries, and I actually think Tesla will be at or above 20% gross margins. All right, remember, you heard it here first. All right, so what else is happening? Okay, well, there's this other thing that keeps happening. Well, let me make sure I hit everything. Okay, talked about Twitter, talked about PPI, we talked about China and Europe. We talked about them hitting 5K. We talked about debt ceiling, Twitter CEO. Oh, that's right. Project Highland, right? Project Highland is supposed to be starting around June, right? Now, Tesla China has denied these reports, right? Tesla China has denied every single damn report of any rumors that came out. And guess what? So far, they have all happened. So when Tesla China denies something, I don't believe it. So the fact that the rumor is that Tesla China is about to start early production or prototyping or working on building out Project Highland. That's the new Model 3, the refresh, if you will, which supposedly it's going to be more than just a refresh, but these are all rumors, so take everything with a grain of salt. But that is also set to happen at the beginning June, or just say June. Right. So talk about yet another catalyst. Imagine they come out with this badass refresh looking Model 3 that spurs demand for Model 3. I won't lie. Besides the Cybertruck, I'm looking at potentially buying a Model 3 if there is a refresh and if I like it. So we'll see. So I'm a perfect candidate for that, right? I'm someone who's looking and I'm ready to go. So that's also happening. So all these things are converging for June. Again, Twitter, CPI, PPI, inflation, Jerome Powell, all that stuff. China, Europe, numbers looking great, and we'll get more and more data as we get to June. All right. The factories are hitting 5,000 each, right? That's bullish for volume. The debt ceiling, right? That'll get resolved, and that's another bullish catalyst. Twitter CEO being announced, Project Highland. And then the thing that that's really kind of tying all this together for me, that's finally starting to click for me. FSD. I know. Lots of people think, oh, this is a false promise from Elon. Okay, listen, if you're one of those people, go ahead, hang up, stop watching me, move on, because you're not going to like everything I'm about to say here. So first things first, if you really want to know what I think about FSD and all the bullish signals that I'm seeing right now, I'll somewhere up here, I'm going to put a link to a video I did a couple days ago, and it will go through everything and all the signals we're seeing. All right. Now, I think so. We just saw yet another signal, in my opinion, from Elon Musk, and I think this is perhaps the most bullish signal that I have seen to date when it comes to FSD, especially with things that Elon is saying. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here with you guys. Okay, so here we have it. This was Tesla owner Silicon Valley, and he said, "Wonder if Smart Summon and Reverse Summon will get big updates soon." Now, down here, Elon says major update coming in a few months. And this is regarding, again, to Summon. Now, why is this such a big deal? Why? Okay. I'm of this mindset that once Tesla starts working on smoothing things out, on polishing things out, that is when we are going to really start to understand that FSD is getting near complete. And the thing that I think will absolutely show us this is when they start working on parking lots. If you don't know, Tesla FSD has predominantly only worked for city streets. That's what it's been meant for, right? So everything off of the highway, but not in parking lots. That's what it's been meant for. Then with version 11, we converged the highway stack with the city streets. So FSD essentially ate the entire highway autopilot stack. So all of that became something that all fell under the FSD domain. So highways and normal city streets fell under the FSD domain, but still parking lots did not. Now, once they start working on that, once they start working on parking lots and summon happens in parking lots, to me, that's a signal. That's a signal that we are getting very, very close. You can just listen to Kathy Woods. Kathy Woods literally just got done with an interview with Axios saying all these investors that don't believe in Tesla clearly don't own Teslas because because they would have realized what this last version 11.3.6 means, right? They would have seen the vast improvement, right? At this point, interruptions, takeovers, anything aren't happening for safety reasons. They're happening for convenience reasons, right? Like maybe it doesn't stage appropriately for a turn. And so, because traffic builds up, it ends up missing it, having to reroute. That's annoying. Sometimes people take over for that, right? But it's not safety reasons. That's not why people are taking over anymore. So the fact that they're working on polish now, the fact that obviously safety is always number one, right? But now it's becoming more and more about comfort, more about staging, and now summon as well. This tells me that they are really on the precipice of something big here. The other thing is like all these releases have been getting better and better, not by a little, but by a lot. And we're so close. I mean, if you don't agree with me, you have to go experience it. Is the only way I can say this. Like once you go in it and you experience it, I don't even mean like once, right? Because your first, like say, let's just say your first 5 hours, right? I think that's like a little conservative, but let's say your first 5 hours using FSD, you're timid, you're learning, you're experiencing it, you're not really too comfortable. But by the time you get to about, say 10 hours to 40 hours of using FSD, you feel comfortable and you really understand where it's going to work and not work for the most part, right? Not saying this is 100%, right? Always be cautious, hands on wheel, pay attention. It's still a beta means that it's not GA means generally available, so essentially done enough to go out. But this is exciting. Is really what I'm trying to say. The fact that Elon's signaling this, that they're going to be working on summon, that they're working on polishing. He's talking about, once we get to a place where it's not just safe, but also comfortable and, a pleasure to ride with, that they'll offer it for a month free to everybody. Guys, we're getting so close. Like to me, so all right. So let me kind of wrap this up here because I'm getting a little long in the tooth here. But with all these things happening, it seems like all of these things are converging onto this summer. All of it. Now we still have a lot of headwinds, right? Don't get me wrong. We still have high interest rates. We still have inflation that needs to come down more. But I'm of the opinion we're already at about a 2% CPI, right, or inflation, right? It depends on how you look at it. If you look at like things like the last 9 months, 6 months, and you extrapolate forward, that's where we are. So I think we're in a better place. My only real big worry is that when interest rates were at this place back in 2006, it wasn't until another 2 years before we really saw the effects. And that's where we hit 2008, and we know what happened there. So I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but it's really hard not to be a bit paranoid about that and cautious. But what I do know is that technology is deflationary. What I do know is all these OEMs are struggling to sell their cars, and Tesla has pricing power. Tesla can still maintain their high margins and drop prices. And when I say high margins, I'm talking about 19, 20%. This is industry leading despite the fact that they've dropped their prices so much. Cybertruck is still yet to come out. So this may be one of those years that sell in May and go away does not pan out, does not play out. Anyways, this is just a theory, some thoughts, right? All these things are kind of aligning. PPI happened today. Elon said this today. Project Highland, the news, the rumors from China came out. 5,000 vehicles at a Giga Texas. That happened, I think, yesterday. I mean, like all these things are converging. The debt ceiling, I think, will get resolved. I hope it gets resolved. All these things are just converging onto the same time frame. And it almost feels like this spring that has just been so wound tight, ready to explode. And normally with these type of moments, it's just Tesla things that are kind of coiled up. This time it's everything. It's absolutely everything, right? So I don't know. It just seems like there might be time for a good pop. And I'm not saying it's going to last if it happens. It might just be short, lived. It might just be, gamblers coming in, risk takers coming in. It might just be short term euphemism. But I do think we are on the precipice of a big move higher, right? And again, I'm not here to predict short term movements or anything like that. I'm a long term investor. It's just something that I kind of start to get excited about when I was sitting on my couch having a glass of wine with my wife. And I thought, you know what? I want to go and talk about this to the community. I want to see what everyone else thinks. Do you guys all see this? Am I crazy? Am I just a guy with weird bug eyes right now? I don't know why I'm doing this. All right, we're gonna leave it there. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I hope you guys enjoy a nice glass of wine this evening. Do whatever makes you happy. Enjoy your family, and guess what? I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.